Here we go. Yeah, welcome everybody. We are the Canadian Bro Show. My name is Paul Bale. I'm the host and the founder of the Canadian Bro Show, and the handsome chap to my left and your right is none other, the world famous prolific writer himself, Mr. John Leister, the co-host of the most of the Canadian Bro Show. Welcome to the Canadian Bro Show. This is episode, oh my God, 41?
Holy moly.
And it's really an episode that Johnny and I, we love this genre, and we've been talking about it for quite some time. And we thought we'd take a deep dive in and finish, we're going to do another episode of our, we call them the Pauly and Johnny's movie review series. We really enjoy it. We love movies. We love film. We love cinema. And in this particular episode, we are going to focus. And by the way, you can find all of our videos. We've got about 65. I got actually about 75 at the Canadian Bro Show on YouTube. Exclusively fabulous, free, entertaining, brand new podcast, episode 41, eh? Wizards, wands, warriors, wickedness, and wonder. Exploring
alliteration, folks.
Exploring the Enchantment, the best fantasy movie review series with Pauly and Johnny. And fantasy is just an excellent genre. It goes the gauntlet from children to teenagers to adults to old people. Everybody loves a good fantasy film. And Johnny, when we mention fantasy, what's the first thing that comes into your head with all the electric ideas that you're going on through that matrix of your brain?
Don't put me on the spot, bro. I would define a fantasy film as a world where impossible things happen, a world that defies the laws of physics, flying carpets and magic wands and spells and kidnapped princesses and heroic rogues. And these are worlds that we enjoy, partly because I think the heroes and villains are so clearly defined. You don't need any guidelines to watch Lord of the Rings. It's pretty obvious who we're meant to cheer for. I think these stories are uplifting. I think they make us feel good about ourselves. They make us feel good about other people. And they make the problems of our lives, put them in a little bit of perspective and maybe make them feel not quite so insurmountable.
Wow, that is excellent. Excellent opening. And again, episode 41 is Wizard, Wands, Warriors, Wickedness, and Wonder. Exploring the Enchantment, the best fantasy movies. And Johnny, would you like to start us off with today's episode 41? What is your first fantasy film?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I'm going to start off with 1983's Krull. Not Crud, Krull, a British-American science fiction fantasy adventure film directed by Peter Yates, who also directed the great Breaking Away, Ken Marshall, and in supporting roles a very young Liam Neeson and Robbie Coltrane. The story follows Prince Colwyn and a fellowship of companions who set out to rescue his bride, Princess Lissa, from a fortress of alien invaders led by a hateful prick who calls himself the Beast. Now, this movie it's fun. It's really not that great, but it has absolutely one of the most coolest weapons ever in the history of cinema. It's called the glaive, and it's like this boomerang with spokes, and the blades pop out of the ends, and he throws it, and it twirls, and he kills like 10 bad guys, and it flies back to the can. I remember when I was a kid watching this movie in 1983 at the Park Theatre on Cambie Street in Vancouver. Every time he threw that thing, I just lost my mind. Like, I got to get myself one of those. I need one of those for high school. That'll keep the boys away.
Yeah, no doubt, eh? And what a great film. I really enjoyed it. And it was a B film, but it was really good B film. And that weapon, I'll never forget it. It was a really nice put together B quality sci-fi fantasy. And it worked. And
it had a great giant spider, too. It had a great animation spider. Oh.
Doesn't? Oh, I know. I'm not a big spider fan. My wife's a serious arachnophobe, so I get it. And I was out in the garden today, and it's spider season in Kelowna in June. Oh, God. They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's millions of them. But what a great film. I really enjoyed that. And Johnny, to stick with that vibe, I'm going to choose, and I like to choose my movies based on whatever you do and keep them flowing. And one of my favorite stories of all time, ever since I was a wee kid, was the story of King Arthur
Mm.
and the Round Table. And in 1981, when we were in grade 10 in Kitsilano, Johnny,
Mhm.
one of my favorite British directors by the fellow, his name was John Boorman.
Mm.
He did the movie is called Excalibur,
Great
and
movie.
it is one of my favorite. Now, they've done this story of Arthur and Merlin the magician and Arthur Pendragon unite with the Britons around the round table of Camelot, and there's dark forces and there's a love interest, and it's just an exceptional production.
Yeah.
Everything, set design, acting, story, a young, beautiful Helen Mirren,
Mm.
and the
Real
acting
beautiful.
was really good, and it was just absolute fantasy
Yeah.
and mysticism and swords and sorcery, and you've Merlin, it was incredible. I just
Yeah.
love it. And at the end of the day, the if you you have to watch it if you haven't seen it. It's an older film, but it stands the test of time. And if you look at all the actors in it, it's incredible. You've got Nigel Terry, who did a very good job of King Arthur. You got Helen Mirren as a love interest, Morgana. You've got Gabriel Byrne was Uther Pendragon.
That's
Um,
right.
yeah, Liam Neeson once again is
He's been around,
Gawain.
isn't he? He's made like a million movies, that guy.
Oh, he really has. And then you got Patrick Stewart is Leon Grant,
Make it so number
and
one.
it just goes on. They've got so many. It was really well received, and it was, it had some kind of cheesy parts as well. But in terms of a classic, I give it an 8 out of 10. It stands the test of time. Please see it if you haven't seen it. It's really enjoyable, and you'll just sit back with popcorn for 2 hours and get lost in that world, and it's a beautiful world.
That is a great movie, and I probably saw it the same year that you did when we were kids. Great choice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm going to go with a 1982's The Beastmaster,
Oh, I love it.
starring fellow Canadian Mark Singer, who
Yeah.
you might remember as Mike Donovan from one of my favorite TV shows ever, V, from back in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Directed by John Coscarelli, who may or may not be Italian. Also, just a wild guess there.
Yeah, right.
Starring the impossibly beautiful Tanya Roberts, who's the star of another great / hilarious, made perhaps unintentionally fantasy movie called Sheena. John Amos, who you might remember from Good
Yep.
Times, and an actor with one of the greatest names ever. Here we go. Rip Torn, possibly a pseudonym. Okay, this movie is based on the novel by Alice Andre, according to Wikipedia, Norton. The film is about a man who can communicate with animals a la Dr. Dolittle and fights an evil wizard and his army. There were 2 sequels. There was a spin-off TV series. I mean, I probably saw this movie 5 times in the theater. And I saw it with, I think I saw it with some of our fellow friends, and they just rolled their eyes at it. But I just thought it was super entertaining. I've always been a huge Mark Singer fan. Very underrated actor, very charismatic guy, and just a really fun and entertaining popcorn adventure film.
Yeah, really enjoyable, man. Really, really, really enjoyable. Loved it. And this is fun. Every time we do the cinema series, Johnny, it's like going back into time, and both of us have seen literally, I don't know, thousands and thousands and thousands of movies since the 60s. And
At least.
my choice for the next one is really, I didn't want to see it. My girlfriend at the time wanted to see it, and then my wife, currently of 25 years, had never seen it. And so we had a popcorn night, of course, and I put on director Rob Reiner's The Wonderful Princess Bride, one of the best fantasy films of all time, top 20 in my pick. And Rob Reiner did a fantastic job. The writer, William Goldman, is prolific, almost as prolific as you, except he's actually working in Hollywood, soon to be, Johnny. And it stars Carrie Oves, Mandy Patinkin, a young Robin Wright, Andre the Giant, a whole bunch of host of cameos. And Carrie Oves was Wesley, and Mandy Patinkin was Inigo Montoya, and
I knew.
Chris Sarandon was in that. Wallace Shawn. I mean, Fred Savage, Peter Falk,
Oh gosh.
Carol Kane.
Can I ask you just one more question? That was pretty close.
Billy Crystal. I mean, it's a fantastic movie, and it was really well reserved. The summary is: reviewers say The Princess Bride is acclaimed for its romance, adventure, and comedy, featuring memorable characters and quotable lines. The film's humor, dialogue, and story are often praised, along with the standout performances by the aforementioned Carrie Oves, Robin Wright, Mandy Patinkin, and Andre the Giant.
Oh,
Andre the Giant kid in one seating could drink 100 beers and then start getting into tequila. He was not only, he really enjoyed giant drinking, and he was a giant. He was larger.
He's a very tall man. He's over 7 feet, I believe. 7'5".
I met Wilch. No, he wasn't that. He was about 7 foot, but he was about 500 pounds. And Chamberlain and him did a movie. It might be in your thing. And Wilt talked to me about him and said he was the biggest drinker I've ever seen. But I tell you what, he called me Little Man Wilt. He goes, that man could fart like a rhinoceros.
More than Leslie Nielsen?
And I'm telling you, it was incredible. Coming from Wilt Chamberlain, hearing that. And he said he was drunk all the time, but he was a friendly, go-lucky. Anyways, great movie. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
It's charming. It's got great character. It's a comedy. It's got generational appeal. And I love it. I actually watched it a couple of nights ago, and it was really enjoyable. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That is a great movie. Okay, my next choice, I'm stepping into the DeLorean, going up to 88 miles an hour. No, not Back to the Future, not quite. I'm going a little farther back to 1963, an epic independent fantasy adventure film called Jason and the Argonauts, based on the 3rd century BC Greek epic poem, The Argonautica, by Apollonius Rhodius. Hang on while I take a breath. Directed by John Shafee, and one of the stars of this film is Honor Blackman, who you may remember from Goldfinger.
I do.
And this movie is really, really terrifying in some ways. It has one of the most amazing fight sequences of all time, which was created by the legendary Ray Harryhausen, who created stop motion animation, where he would build a model and he'd move it a little bit and then shoot, and then move it a little bit and shoot. I know it's been like the most tedious process of all time. This is before CG. This is how they made monsters. And so there's a fight in this movie where Jason and the Argonauts, they fight skeletons. They fight this army of skeletons.
Man, incredible scene, Johnny. Incredible scene.
It's not CG. They're using models, and if you watch it on YouTube, I mean, you have to remember this way back in 1963. It was absolutely amazing, and I saw this movie every time it was on TV.
Johnny, what did they call the technology back then? If you call it loosely technology, was it stop-go animation?
Stop motion animation.
Stop motion.
Yeah,
I remember that movie. I enjoyed that.
The guys who made the magazine Starlog, they made another magazine called Cinephile, and it was, or Cinetech, something like that, and it was all about how special effects were made back in the day, and I always found that stuff to be absolutely fascinating. So Jason and the Argonauts, it's a must-see. You can watch it on YouTube. I watched it a couple years ago, and it really holds up.
Yeah, it really does. And what a great choice, and it brought back a ton of memories when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And going back to a ton of memories, you know, when I saw this film, we grew up, Johnny. John lived about a block away from me in Kitsilano in the 60s and 70s. And that's how I met him, north of 4th, back when it was the hippies in the late 60s and 70s. And John and I were just young little kids, you know, with banana bikes and comic books and Slurpees and movies and reading and writing. That's what we did. And it was a wonderful experience. I was just talking to Mike Bishinsky, our old friend, and we were reminiscing on how we grew up. We're so fortunate to grow up in kids in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And to be able to experience that, no one will ever understand
No,
what we had, and we were blessed. And I'm not harping on it to
no.
boast. I'm just saying we're
Yeah.
with all humility and kindness. It is honestly some of the best
We
times of our
lived,
lives.
we lived 5 minutes away from Kitts Beach, which has got to
Yeah,
be one of those beautiful beaches.
yeah.
And
But
enjoy
getting back to the show,
the movie.
I want to talk about director Jim Henson. I grew up watching Sesame Street, and Jim Henson was so popular back in the day that the studios in LA actually gave him a movie, and that movie he directed at the helm is called Labyrinth, with David Bowie as the central character and a very young, beautiful Jennifer Connelly and Toby Fraud. And I in 1986, I fell in love with Jennifer Connelly.
Well, I don't think you're alone there, bro.
No, everybody did. She was beautiful, gorgeous, excellent actress, and the camera loved her. But this movie, with a combination of early CGI and some incredible acting, believe it or not, by David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly, of course, it is a fantastic combination of a film and cartoon and puppets, and it is just, it takes you back to a fantasy world that you want to go and live for a period of time. It was so wonderful, and it was a children's. Frank Oz was in it. Michael Horden. There's a ton of old actors in it, and it was just one of those movies that everybody loved. It was fantastic. It was magical, and people they absolutely grooved on it. And here's the storyline. Sarah is forced by her father and her stepmother to babysit her baby stepbrother, who she doesn't want to do, Toby. And while they're out, he does not stop crying. That's why she doesn't like him. And she wishes that he would just be taken away somewhere in a different world. Out of the blue, he stops crying. And when she looks at him in his crib, she learns her wish was granted. And the Goblin King, Jareth, has taken him to the castle in Goblin City in the middle of the world of Labyrinth. Sarah repents and asks Jareth to give him back, and Jareth tells him that she has to rescue him before midnight. And so the movie unfolds. She teams up with some allies, and will they rescue Toby in time? What a great movie. I really enjoyed it.
And of course, Jim Henson created Yoda, and Yoda was voiced by Frank Oz.
Excellent. So, isn't that funny, eh? That's why I mentioned Frank Oz. I mean, Johnny, you're right on it, bro. Great movie. Kids film, movie, but an adult film. It just stands the test of time. It's excellent. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's really
and again, nothing is computer generated in these movies. You know, it's all done. All the effects are done practically. I think there's a lot to be said for that.
They had set designs, and they had a whole city built. It was really incredible. They went the extra mile. And Jim Henson's puppet making and mastery is incredible.
Yeah, it's so elaborate. Yeah, ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. Okay, my next choice is 1981's Dragon Slayer. Directed by Matthew Robbins from a screenplay by Hal Barwood. Caitlin Clark. No, not that Caitlin Clark, the one who is not a basketball player, which I recently learned from watching one of your podcasts. Anyway, one of the other show podcasts. The story is set in a fictional medieval kingdom where a young wizard encounters challenges as he hunts a dragon, somewhat preposterously named. Here we go. I take a deep breath before I'm able to spit this out. Vermithrax pejorative. Man, what? It's a long ways from Puff. Anyway, This movie is really epic and really fun. It was not a huge hit at the time, but I remember watching it in the theater, and just the music by Alex Norris is so sweeping and epic, and the dragon looks just as cool as what we saw in those Lord of the Rings movies. So that's my next choice, Dragon Slayer. It's really fun, and unfortunately was not successful. But some movies fall through the cracks, and this is one of them, which is a shame.
You know, I was very excited when this movie came out, and the lead actor, what was his name again? The guy
Peter McNichol.
Right, and he kind of reminds me of like maybe one of the cast, of your 70s New York detective. I just see him in there with
Okay.
the hair.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure why, but I do. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Yeah, it was a B movie,
Mm.
but it had some really good effects. It had some pretty good action. Anytime you throw a dragon in there, it's going to be fun. I mean, I was going to put a dragon movie in with Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey, but
Oh, I
I was
remember that Rain of Fire.
right. I was hoping that
Yeah.
you might do that. I didn't put it
Oh,
in mine,
no.
but really nice. And at the end of the day, this next movie I watched with my wife when we used to do date. We'd once a week we'd try to watch a movie, and we'd rotate. So I'd try to watch something I want to watch, and she would try to watch something that she wanted to watch. And it was her time, and she would always choose the same. She liked, witches and magic and wands and all of that girly stuff, right? Maybe darkly girly stuff. I don't know, but this particular movie is just incredible, and I'd be surprised if you actually seen it. It kind of went under the wire, but it's actually one of the best fantasy films I've ever seen, and I was so surprised at how good it was that by the end of it, I was like, my God, thank you for that. That was incredible. The movie is called Stardust.
Oh.
And Stardust is a fairy tale. It's a fantasy epic, and it's a feel-good romance story, and it's a quest at the same time. And the director is Matthew Vaughn, and the writers are Jane Goldman, Matthew Vaughn as well, and Neil Gaiman. And it stars just a screenwriter, exactly. A host of. Well, you've read a lot of books. I mean, we're both prolific readers as well. Charlie Cox was the lead, handsome lead, Tristan. Claire Danes was Yvain. The lovely and talented Jude Law's ex-wife, Sienna Miller, was Victoria. Ian McKellen was the narrator. Of course, with a voice like that, he could narrate anything.
Yeah.
He could narrate bubblegum and make it sound good. And then, you've got guys like Henry Cavill was Humphrey. Nathaniel Parker was Dunstan. Peter O'Toole was the king when he was still alive. I believe it was his last film. Mark Strong was Septimus. And Jason Fleming, the British actor who is related to Sean Connery, was also in it. And a cameo by Robert De Niro as the gay pirate driver of the. Wow. They had this huge boat, and he drove this boat in space. It's incredible. I'll read the storyline. The passage from this world to the fantasy kingdom of Stormhold is through a breach in a wall beside the English village. In the 1800s, a boy becomes a man, and he ventures through the breach in pursuit of a fallen star to prove his love for the village beauty. The star is no lump of rock. It's a maiden, Yvain Tristan. The youth is not only one looking for, but there's 3 witches also looking for. And the witches are Cher and Bette Midler and Michelle Pfeiffer. Wow. Oh, it's magic.
All in this one movie? That's incredible.
I'm telling you, you have to see that. It's incredible, and it did quite well, but it was just not what a lot of people expected, including myself. Okay. And then they go on this ship driven by Robert De Niro playing this gay pirate. It's just hilarious, man. Like, it's so good, and it's something you would never expect, and I highly recommend it. It's really, 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 really good. And
I read American Gods. Are you familiar with that book?
I've heard of it. I've never read it. Yeah.
It was made into a miniseries. Neil Gaiman wrote it. He also created the Sandman for DC Comics back in the day. Super prolific, super talented writer. Okay, very good. My next choice is 1992's The Sword and the Sorcerer, directed by the insanely prolific Albert Payan. This guy cranked out like 8 million low-budget action, fantasy, sci-fi, martial arts movies back in the 1980s. Lee Horsley, whom you may remember as Nat Houston, the ridiculously beautiful Kathleen Beller, Simon McCorkindale. Who can forget Manimal? a man who could actually change into animals. And then when we changed back to humans, somehow his clothes came back. They never explained that. Richard Lynch, who's a very popular villain in many Chuck Norris movies. And Richard Mall, who you may remember from Night Court. The
Yep.
plot concerns a mercenary with, here we go again with cool weapons, with a 3-bladed projectile sword, who discovers his royal heritage when he's recruited to help a princess foil the designs of a brutal tyrant and a powerful devil-like sorcerer in conquering the land. Now again, like the glaive and crawl, this sword in the Sword and Sorcerer is just effing unbelievable.
Yeah.
You push the button on the hilt, and the sword, like a missile or a torpedo, flies off the hilt, kills the bad guy, and then returns back to the hilt. I mean, they just don't make movies like this anymore.
No, they don't.
Again, no CG. They did it with wires, and it looked absolutely. I probably looked cheesy by today's standards, but I absolutely loved this movie when I was a kid. Well, 17 was a kid anyway.
I mean, we're on the same page. I love everything you talk about is what I like, and most of what I say that you've seen, you like. But the idea is I always try to come up with stuff that you haven't seen, and perhaps many other people haven't seen it. And that was a good choice. And I've got 2 in a row from the same director that I have to bring up because I've not shared these 2 films. And after seeing both of them, the first one, my wife made me leave after 20 minutes. But I won't talk about that one yet. I want to talk about the other one. And this one here is from one of my favorite fantasy directors, science fiction directors, fantasy mostly, is Guillermo del Toro. And the storyline is from master storyteller Guillermo del Toro. If you're going to watch Del Toro, if you're going to watch one of his movies, it is spectacular. It is science fiction. It is fantasy. It is amazing. It is set design. It is CGI. Acting, writing. He puts together movies that are visually absolutely stunning, and this one is no different. The movie is called The Shape of Water.
Don't know this one.
An otherworldly fable set against the backdrop of Cold War era America circa 1962. In the hidden high-security government laboratory where she works, lonely Alyssa Salah Hawkins is trapped in a life of isolation. Alyssa's life is changed forever when she and co-worker Zelda Octavia Spencer discover a secret classified experiment. Rounding out the cast are Michael Shannon, who's always good and very dark, and Richard Jenkins and Michael Stuhlbarg and Doug Jones. And this movie is, I mean, you want to talk about fantasy? You want to talk about set design? You want to talk about a movie that it's extraordinary. You have to see The Shape of Water. She falls in love with this half alien, half human, half lizard in this huge cage.
Yes.
And she crawls into the cage with this alien, and they have they fall in love. And it is fantastical. I saw it once, and I haven't seen it again since, but I have to watch it again because honestly, it's incredible. It won 4 Oscars, bro. Right?
I've never heard of this movie. I'm just hearing about this for the first time. Del Toro directed it?
Yes, The Shape of Water.
Don't know
It's incredible.
Wow. Huh.
See it, Johnny. If you can, you'll love it. You'll
Awesome.
absolutely love it.
Well, you certainly made a great pitch. All right, my next choice, moving forward in time a little bit, 2011's Thor, the American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics creator, created by writer Stan Lee and artist Jack Kirby, directed by Kenneth Branagh, one of my favorite actors, also a great director, co-starring Natalie Portman, Tom Hiddleston, Stellan Skarsgård, the ridiculously and preposterously beautiful Kat Dennings, just saying, and many other, and Anthony Hopkins as Thor's father Odin. Okay, here's the plot. After reigniting a dormant war with the Frost Giants, not nice people, Thor is banished from Asgard, which is the mythical realm, to Earth, Asgard, make your own joke. Stripped of his powers and his. I'm sorry, you can edit that.
It's okay. It's okay.
And that's my pun for the day. Well, I have another one.
Oh,
And
I know, right?
stripped of his powers, he's deemed unworthy of the hammer of Thor and has to live as a mortal amongst the rest of us in present day Earth. This movie is really fun, really captures the spirit of the comic book. The only thing that disappointed me about it, and I'm saying this as a fanboy geek, you know the helmet that Thor has in the comics, right? With the huge feathers on. I mean, he wears it in one scene. And in all of these Marvel movies, he wears his helmet exactly one time. It looks absolutely amazing. I don't know why. I guess because it's Chris Hemsworth in the studio part, they want the audience to see his face.
Right,
I just
right.
wanted to see more of that helmet. But otherwise, this is one of my favorite. I've seen all the Marvel movies many times, well, most of them. Renee Russo plays Thor's mother, and she and Anthony Hopkins are wonderful together as husband and wife. This is a movie with a lot of laughs, a lot of warmth, a lot of action, amazing special effects, and really captures the spirit of the Thor comic book. So that's my next choice.
Yeah,
Really,
I mean, fantastic stuff. I love it. It brings back so many memories. I love all these things, man. I really do. You know, and I was gonna do a thing on Pan's Labyrinth, which is Del Toro's other film. It's a fantasy film, but it's more of a war fantasy. So I'm gonna save that for a different genre.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen Pan's Labyrinth, please do. It's absolutely incredible, and really, really enjoyable. I'm going to go into something something that it just was eye candy, and delicious to watch, and not my favorite film at all. But oh my God, was it really enjoyable to. The set design and everything, and I had to go with this one, Johnny. They did a couple of them, but this one is the one that I saw first, and I saw it later than everybody else. But my goodness, is it fantastic. And it kind of reminds me of a little bit of a film that I'm going to talk about later. But this particular film was in 2016, so it's a little bit newer, and it's called The Huntsman, Winter's War. And it is directed by Cedric Nicholas Troyan, and it stars Chris Hemsworth, Jessica Chastain, Charlize Theron playing the evil dark witch, which might not be too much of a stretch from what I've heard about her, but I could be wrong.
I'm sure
Emily Blunt's in it. Nick Frost is in it, the British actor. Anyways, it's really good, and the script in this is fantastic. The actions, I mean, they did Snow White and the Huntsman.
It's a sequel, right?
It is, yeah, or a prequel. I can't remember, but I've seen them both, and they're excellent. I'll just give you the storyline. And you could never guess who the evil sorceress, Queen Ravina's powers allow her to know that her young sister Freya, whose powers have not yet emerged, is not only involved in an illicit affair, which is already elsewhere engaged nobleman Andrew, but is also pregnant with his child. Sometime after Freya gives birth to baby girl, Freya discovers that Andrew has not only reneged on the promise of elopement with her, but also murdered their child. Spoiled warning.
Oh
in the grief-fueled rage, her broken heart freezes over, and she kills him in a sudden emergence of powers and the Emmenthal control of ice. And this thing just goes on, and it is high budget. It is a lot of fun. The cinematography is extraordinary, and it's a true fantastical fantasy. It's an amazing movie. I really enjoy both of them.
Okay.
They're really well done.
I remember looking at the trailer for the first one. It looked like a chick flick to me. Is it that, or is it preservative?
Kind of, and that's why
it's absolutely fine. But that's why I didn't see it.
It really is. But you know what? It's when I think of fantasy,
Yeah.
it just fills in all of them.
Right.
And I really enjoy that. And I was going to put the other, but we only do about. Usually, folks, in our when we do the movie review show, we try to do about 10 each, and try to keep it concise and try to keep it fun and light. And Johnny, who do you got next?
All right, I'm gonna go with Excellent! 1989's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure,
Oh my
an
God.
American science fiction comedy film starring our favorite Canadian, well, one of our favorite Canadians,
Yeah,
the warm and wonderful and
we got
charismatic Tony Reeves.
we got a lot of favorite Canadians, bro.
The first installment of the Bill and Ted franchise. There was a third one made recently, Bill and Ted Face the Music, which I did not see, but I heard was actually quite good. Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter, and the legendary George Carlin, one of the greatest stand-up comics of all time,
Yeah.
followed Bill and Ted, a pair of not very bright teenagers who travel through time to assemble historical figures, not to save the world, which is usually the motivation for these movies, but for their high school history presentations, which I think is really awesome. Like,
Of all things.
this is not a great movie. I think even the people who made it, but I think that they fulfilled their intentions, was just to make something that's really funny and really entertaining and really goofy. And I mean, these two characters are so likable and charming, and they're just in way over their heads. And it's just a really fun movie. And the sequel is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which was originally called Bill and Ted Go to Hell, which is a great title. They had to change it because back in the day you couldn't say the word hell before 9 o'clock on television. That's why they changed the title, which is too bad.
That's probably the same time in the 70s where they couldn't serve booze in Vancouver on Sunday.
Yeah.
Not that I drank back then, but I remember that and I thought, how silly is that?
Yeah, we grew up with a lot
The only
of...
place in the world, man.
So that's my next choice, Bill and Ted's. Again, not
really
great, but really fun and entertaining.
No, really fun, and they did a sequel, and I didn't actually, I tried to watch maybe 15 minutes one day, and I was like, no, I can't do it.
Oh, not good?
For me personally, it was stupid, it was silly, it was a big pile of steaming crap as far as I was concerned, but I understand why people liked it, and it was just personally for me, it just didn't hit it.
Right.
This next movie, my next is more of a dark fantasy, a fantasy epic, if you will, an adventure, a family fantasy, all of the above. And in 2007, I saw this with Flavia. This was her date night choice, once along the lines of Stardust. So I knew where she was going. It had to be about witches and wands and magic. And it was extremely well done. And the movie was called Compass in 2007. Wow. And it was directed by Chris Weitz. He also wrote it with Philip Pullman, and it stars Nicole Kidman, Daniel Craig, and young Dakota Blue Edwards.
The Golden Compass.
Yes, the Golden Compass. Sorry, did I not say that? My bad.
I've heard this movie.
Yes, and Ian McKellen once again is in it, and Eva Green, beautiful eyes. Ian McShane is in it. Christopher Lee, Sam Elliott, Kristen Scott Thomas, Edward D'Souza, Kathy Bates, Jack Shepard. I mean, it's good Lord, man. They got everybody in this thing, and it's really enjoyable. It's eye candy, and it really works. The storyline: it was no ordinary life for a young girl living among scholars in the hallowed halls of Jordan College and tearing unsupervised through Oxford motley streets in mad quest for adventure. But Lyra's greatest adventure would begin closer to home, unbeknownst to her, the day she heard hushed talk of an extraordinary particle, microscopic in size. The magical dust, discovered in a vast Arctic expanse of the North, was rumored to possess profound properties that could unite whole universes.
Wow.
But there were those who feared the particle would stop at nothing to destroy it, capitulated into the heart of a terrible parallel universe. I mean, this thing is so exciting. Have you seen this?
No.
The Golden Compass? Oh my God, man. It is exceptional, and it's really well done. And the acting is incredible. And of course, Nicole Kidman, I mean, everything she's in is incredible. And she's a very beautiful looking woman. Easy on the eyes. She's like turning 60 and she looks like she's in her 30s. It's crazy.
What a voice.
But she's just so talented. But another one that you haven't seen, Johnny, they're racking up, bro. You're going to have to get on it because it's worth it.
I need to get out more.
Yeah. Okay. If you say so. It's your world. I don't live in it,
Uh,
but at least I get to enjoy part of your world. So
do you
thank you
have
for that.
another one you wanted to talk about?
Is that it? You're done?
I've got a few more actually. I don't know.
Yeah.
You
Well,
want
go
yeah,
ahead. Yeah,
okay.
I do. I do
Okay.
actually.
Now my next one is a bit of a guilty pleasure. A lot of these are actually. Okay, here we go. Based on the character created by our fellow Canadian Todd McFarlane, who was born in Alberta and started working at Marvel Comics in the 80s, and then he left Marvel to form another comics company called Image. And one of the characters that he created is called Spawn, which is a 1997 American superhero movie directed by Mark A.Z. Dipp, if I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. Stars the legendary Michael Jai White in the title role with
Ah,
John Leguizamo, Martin Sheen, D.B. Sweeney, and Nicole Williamson, who played Merlin in Excalibur, which we talked about earlier. The
nice.
film depicts the origin story of the title character, a murdered U.S. Marine who's resurrected as the reluctant leader of Hell's Army. Spawn is one of the first films to feature an African American actor portraying a major comic book superhero. What I love about this movie, and this is a dumb reason to love a movie, I just love the look of the Spawn character. I love the suit. I love the red cape that looks like it's a mile long. I love the look of this movie. The story is a little bit haywire. The comic book is much better. I actually read the first 20 or 30 issues of the comic book. It's absolutely amazing. And Todd McFarlane is a great writer and absolutely one of the great comic book artists of all time. This is a goofy movie, but I think that it knows it's goofy. And again, at the end of the day, it's just about good versus evil. And every actor in this movie, especially Martin Sheen, is just way over the top. It's almost like an opera. It's almost like a comic book opera. It's just some movies are art. They're
Yeah.
not really meant to be taken literally. As you
Yeah.
said earlier, they're eye candy. And for me, Spawn gets a 10 out of 10 just for being fun to look at. And Nicole Williamson is always entertaining. He's always the mentor. I think
Yeah.
even as a young man, he was the mentor. He just has that kind of Obi-Wan persona about it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Kind of like Gandalf, like Ian McKellen when he does
Right.
the wizard in the Lord of the Rings. He's just, so, and his voice is so captivating. These British actors when they do the Shakespearean and the way they
Command your attention.
enunciate and oh, it's incredible. Absolutely.
Okay.
Next one I'm going to get is I fell across this one. It's not the best movie in the world, but it's everything about fantasy sci-fi that I love, and it's a little bit on the darker. It's not really so much a children's film, but it does have dinosaurs and sorcerers and dragons and massive monsters, and the movie's called Monster Hunter. And it's a dark fantasy. It's action adventure, and it was filmed by a very talented director. He's got a movie out right now that I have to see. Paul W.S. Anderson, who is really a great director. He's got excellent vision, and his movies stand out the test of time. It stars his wife, one of my favorite, Mila Jovovich,
The
what's that?
Fifth Element. She's
And yeah, Ron Perlman's in it, and Tony Jaa is in it,
oh, cool.
and it is absolutely fantastic. And they're on this planet, and they're killing monsters, and these monsters are huge, and there's hundreds and thousands of them. It's so much fun, man.
Oh, I want to see this.
Yeah. Oh, it's so much fun, man. Johnny, it is absolutely. Let me give you a little synopsis. It didn't get the best reviews, but I really enjoyed it. When I saw it, it was late night, and I think I might have adjusted myself slightly to prepare for a monster movie. And the storyline is, while on a peril-laden mission to try, they're always peril-laden missions. Have you noticed? Well, on a peril-laden mission to track a missing team of soldiers, hard as nails, U.S. Army Ranger Captain Natalie Artemis and her elite brothers in arms find themselves transported to an alternate universe. There, trapped in a barren desert world rife with formidable adversaries and subterranean sand-dwelling beasts. For the first time, Captain Artemis and her squad are shocked to discover their otherwise destructive military weapons are now entirely inadequate to take down the enemy.
Good heavens.
But unexpectedly, in their desperate battle for survival, the team stumbles upon a mysterious blank. and
Oh,
the battle and the monster killing unfolds. It is so fun, man.
I
This
want to see
movie is
it too.
so fun. You'll love it. I
But
guarantee you'll love it. I
I
know
have
you
TV
will.
on my phone. Maybe I'll check it out tonight
Uh,
when I go to the bar.
Definitely. I mean, and by the way, I have an extra opening spot on Netflix if you'd like for free. A
Oh,
flap. I talked to my wife, and that way you can catch up on watching all these movies that I've mentioned that you haven't seen if you're
all right.
open to it.
Thank you.
Anyways,
Very good.
um, I really enjoyed that, and I'm when you see it, I know you're going to enjoy it.
I'll keep an eye out. You certainly sold it well. Okay, I'm going to go
Yeah.
way back in time,
Oh
almost
boy.
to the beginning of the previous century, 1933's King Kong.
Oh,
Directed and produced by Marion C. Cooper with special effects by the absolutely amazing Willis H. O'Brien. Now, I made a mistake earlier. This man is actually the father of the stop motion animation, and then Ray Harryhausen picked up the mantle. The first film in the King Kong franchise combines live action sequences with stop motion animation using rear projection. The film follows a giant ape dubbed Kong who feels affection for a beautiful woman who's initially offered to him as a sacrifice. And of course, this movie culminates in a legendary epic scene where he's on the Empire State Building and the biplanes are attacking him. And poor Kong, you just feel sorry for this ape. He's just an innocent animal, for goodness sakes. He's just following his nature. He just wants to be left alone. And it's tragic, but it's also stunning to look at. And this movie has an edited scene where some of the people who go to the island fall into a giant spider web, and they're actually eaten by giant stop motion spiders. And I remember the Book of Lists. I read about this in the Book of Lists.
yes.
Top 10 most controversial movies. And one of the movies on that list was King Kong because of the scene. People were actually fainting in the theater. So they had to cut it out. But Peter Jackson, when he remade King Kong, which is also great, he actually filmed that sequence for the movie. And I want to talk about that scene a little bit too. There's a scene where, what's the actor's name who played Alfred in the most recent film? He was Gollum in the Lord of the Rings movie. Oh, Andy Serkis.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're in the valley, and he based his character on Popeye. He's a sailor, and he has the Popeye.
Squinted out.
He gets eaten from the head down by a giant worm, and you see him trying to pull this worm off his head that it's enveloped in, and then just gobbles up the rest of his body. Oh, absolutely nightmare!
That was incredible.
Oh, and the music, and oh boy, and Adrian Brody with the gun, and he's blasting away at all the bugs.
My God!
Them. One of the most intense scenes in the history of cinema.
I'm telling you, man.
Are worth watching, the original and the remake by Peter Jackson.
We at the Canadian Bro Show, if you enjoy this content, please subscribe, please like. We really appreciate it. Subscribing really helps us. We're trying to grow to 500 subscribers so that we can take this show to the next level. We've got a lot of really interesting improvements coming. Got a new logo. Got the real estate iteration is coming on. But getting back to Johnny's movie, what fun is that? And my next one, and good choice, my next one is I'm going to do a television series because this is, for me, the best fantasy television series I have ever seen in my entire life. And they did 74 episodes from 2011 to 2019. I stopped watching the series in season 6, and it went to 11. So I'm going to just simply start over from the beginning and watch all 11 and kill it. And it's called The Game of Thrones.
Oh, yes.
It is the most fantastic fantasy, medieval, I mean, whatever you want to call it. It's an action epic. It's a dark fantasy. It's fantasy epic. It's sword and sorcery. It's nudity, blood and guts and gore. And it is, it's incredible. It's absolutely a 10 out of 10. I would say it's the number one fantasy sort of film, television series I've ever seen. And the budget's massive, and it shows. And it shows gore and violence and everything. And Emilia Clarke does a great job as the queen. And Peter Dinklage plays Tywin Lancaster, and Kit Harington, and Lena Headey, and Sophia Turner, and Nikolai Costa-Waldau. He does an incredible job. Ian Glenn's fantastic. John Bradley. Liam Cunningham is always good. Adrian Gillen. I mean, look at this. They got all of these great actors. and it was and the reviews were a 9.2. Here's a summary. Reviewers say that Game of Thrones is acclaimed for its intricate plot, complex characters, and stunning cinematography. The show is lauded for its high production value, detailed world building, and intelligent dialogue. Many appreciate the faithful adaptation of George R.R. Martin's book, of which I've never read. Have you read any of those?
I tried reading the first one, and it was great. I
Yeah.
enjoyed what I was reading, but I didn't finish it.
No problem.
It just happened.
However, the final seasons face criticism for rushed storytelling and inconsistent character arcs. Through the seasons are highly regarded. It's just absolutely exceptional, and it's basically in a land and in a time way before us, Johnny. 9 noble families fight for control over the lands of Westeros, while the ancient enemy returns after dormant for millennia. And the story is so broad, and it's incredible.
Westeros is a great name.
It's 11 out of 10, bro.
I watched the first season back in the day, and I started season 2, and I'm sure it's great. I know everyone. I know a lot of people are fans of the show. No, I'm not going to spoil it. But my favorite character died in the last episode of season 1, and so when I started watching season 2, I threw in the towel because I just missed him too much. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Understand.
Did they bring him back?
What's that?
Did they bring him back?
Bring who back?
The one character who died in the final episode of season 1. I don't want to say who it is for people who haven't seen it.
Oh no, well it's yes, until
really?
he gets,
Okay.
He meets his demise.
Again.
Okay. Well, no, everybody meets their demise in that series.
Oh gosh, well, don't we all? Hopefully not today. Hopefully not anytime soon.
No, but what I mean is it's like over 11 episodes. Yeah, and the wars and the battles is so good. This one brings me back to my childhood, and I just got lost in this movie. It was made in 1984, and it was called The Never Ending Story.
Oh, right.
Do you remember that?
I do. The boy was Foxy on Battlestar Galactica. Noah Hathaway.
Wow, you're really good. And remember the director is Wolfgang Peterson. He did a great job.
That's both.
And he also wrote it with Herman Weigel and Michael End. And it stars Noah Hathaway as the young boy you're talking about, who did a fantastic job. And he kind of reminds me of the haircut I had and the look that I had in 1972. This movie is pure fantasy, and it's children, it's adults. If you're adults and you got kids and the kids are doing a sleepover, do like 3 movies in a row of The Never Ending Story and Labyrinth,
yeah.
and let these kids just disappear into it unless they get bored of it and they start playing video games. Who knows these days, with the kids, I don't even know what they're called, but I'll give you just a summary on it for those that haven't heard it. It was extremely popular, and the young lad that you were talking about, I gave his name, Bastian, is the young boy who lives in a dreary life, being tormented by school bullies, as school bullies do. They torment. That's the one thing they do, and that's why any school bully that tried to torment me, I just beat him up. And no such and trust me, I only lost one fight. And on no such occasion, he escapes into a book comic shop where the old proprietor reveals an ancient storybook to him, which he is warned can be dangerous. Shortly thereafter, he borrows the book, of course, never to return it probably, and begins to read it. And in the school attic, where he is drawn into the mythical land of Fantasia, which desperately needs a hero like him to save it from destruction. And this is just, it's so fun, and it's totally a kid's movie. Like if I was a big brother, and I don't have kids, Johnny doesn't have kids, but if I was a big brother and I had kids, this is the type of movie that I would want them to see, depending on how old they are, of course. I just absolutely love it. Have you ever seen this movie?
Oh yeah, I saw it in the theater. I love the song too. Never Ending Story. Yeah, John Wesley Shipp is in that movie. He was the Flash back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Good one.
The original
Absolutely.
Flash.
Yeah.
Good actor. Great choice. Okay, I have one more on my list, and I think I'm done. You may have alluded to this one earlier. I'm going to go with 1994's. Here we go. Conan the Destroyer. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, 1984 American epic sword and sorcery film, story by Roy Thomas and Jerry Conway, who were two very prolific comic book writers back in the day, based on the character created by Robert E. Howard, a sequel to John Milius's great Conan the Barbarian. This is a more family-friendly sequel. The first one was rated R, this one was PG-13. Schwarzenegger and Mako reprising their roles as Conan and Akira, the Wizard of the Mounds, which sounds like an X-rated movie to me, respectively. The cast also includes Grace Jones, your hero Wilt Chamberlain, all 25 feet of him. The Tracy Walter, who could forget Tracy Walter, who was in like every movie in the 1980s. You like Harry Dean Stanton. You just could not watch a movie without either one of these guys. And
Harry Dean Stanton did it for 60 years, though.
I'm sorry to do this. I hope this doesn't offend people. I'm a man, so I'm not going to apologize for that. The impossibly beautiful Olivia Dabo. This movie is just I love when Schwarzenegger gets drunk in movies. He's a very underrated comedic actor. And I always love the moments where Conan gets drunk in these films because they're always hilarious.
I must say, Johnny, in defense of that comment, in the beginning, one of the worst actors on cinema, but by the end of his career, like Stallone,
he evolved,
started to really evolve and understand the nuances of acting and timing and flow and that sort of thing. But fantastic, good one.
Yeah, I think that's my last one, bro.
Well, I got my last one too, so I'm gonna finish with this. And I was just thinking, did I already do this one? I don't think I did. I hope not. This movie is pure fantasy, adventure. It's dark fantasy. It's epic fantasy. It's a quest. It's sword and sorcery. It has incredible set design. The director is Ron Howard, and the movie is called Willow, 1988.
Good one.
And a young dwarf farmer is chosen to undertake a perilous journey in order to protect a special baby from a very evil queen. Along the way, he teams up with a disgraced swordsman, Val Kilmer, to defeat the evil sorceress. And Ron Howard does a great job. George Lucas, believe it or not, actually wrote this with a fellow by the name of Bob Dolman. Val Kilmer, at his height of popularity and beauty, charisma. Joanne Whalley and Warwick Davis, among many other people. This film is one of the films that it's a war film. It's a fantasy film. It really encapsulates everything, and the budget was massive, and it's eye candy. It doesn't stop giving the entire film. It is really well done, very enjoyable. I love it.
Good one. Good call.
Yeah, nice one.
I think I'm done, bro. I think that's my list.
Well, I mean, that's great. And I think that was a good show. And we're at 58 minutes. And I just want to thank everybody. We film our show. I'm in Kelowna and Johnny's in Vancouver. And we film our show on EVVox, my web-based software system. And it allows us to have the ticker. And we've got the beautiful backdrop of where Johnny is right now, very close at the Vancouver Library in downtown Vancouver. The photo that's in the backdrop is on the 32nd floor of the building that I live in downtown Vancouver. I'm currently in Kelowna. And in the meantime, thank you for joining us for another episode of episode 41. And we really appreciate everybody enjoying. And feel free to comment if you enjoyed this comment, or if you'd like us to do an episode of some kind in the future. Let us know. We really appreciate that. And then subscribe. We're at 55 subscribers right now.
Right.
And we're on the way to 500. And we don't care how long it takes, but if you subscribe, it's gonna help it. Yeah, no, thanks for thinking of us. And likes and share and again, just comment, because Johnny and I, we really care about what we're doing. We're having fun with it, and we want people to enjoy the same enjoyment that we get from what we're trying to share. And Johnny, anything you want to finish off before we?
Before we go, I couldn't help myself. There was Indigo books the other day. I'm reading once again The Hunt for Red October by Tom Clancy. One of the best novels ever written. A lot of technical jargon that I kind of skimmed through, but an epic story. And I do have a pun. Here we go. Hold on to your seat. I hired a limousine service paid $300. What I didn't realize until after the fact is that the service didn't come with the driver. So I spent all that money, and now I have nothing to chauffeur it. Thank you.
I knew that was coming. I could see that one coming.
I knew you.
Oh, God.
I'll just call me John.
And I decided to, we do puns right from our first episode, and we're at 41 going on 42, and Johnny has always brought that in. We always like to show our books at the end of the episode too, and I've just started a new one, so I got to show you this. And I've got about 3 books going, so it's very difficult to finish them all, but this one is called by another one of these prolific writers, and his name is probably not his real name, is Harlan Coben.
Oh.
And the book is called The Innocent. The New York Times bestseller, the author of Just One Look, a modern master of the hook and twist, Dan Brown says. There's the photo.
Dan Brown wrote the Da Vinci Code.
He did. And this fellow writes like Dan Brown, and he's prolific. And it's a page turner. I haven't started it, but I'm looking forward to get into it because we're going to the beach later. It's 31 degrees in Kelowna, and I'm very excited by it. And then, of course, a pun. So here's my pun, John. I've only done one other pun. I've only done one, and that was my space one. So here's one. It's kind of silly. When I get naked in the bathroom, which most people don't really want to see, the shower usually gets turned on.
Really? That's it?
Yeah, it's a pun. The shower usually gets turned on. Oh, come on. I got another one. If we arm the teachers, will the librarians get silencers?
Okay, well, I got one too.
Okay.
Okay, then one on the show.
Okay.
If you lose your car keys in Texas, I screwed it up. Never mind.
Doesn't matter. Stick with one, Johnny. Anyways, thank you everybody for joining. We're gonna wrap it up today, and man.
If you lose your car keys in Texas, it means you can't find your pants. If you lose your car keys in Boston, it means you can't start your car.
Oh, is that how you do it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good actually. Anyways, guys, Johnny and I just twiddle with puns that some are funny, some are not so funny. We thank you for joining the episode. It was filmed today. We'll have it up in the next couple of days at the Canadian Bro Show. In the meantime, thank you for joining. On behalf of Mr. John Leister, the co-host with the most, my name is Paul Bale, the founder and host of the Canadian Bro Show. We really appreciate your time. And if I just may close in saying, be kind out there, folks. It's free. Try to make someone's day that much better. Peace, love, and happiness. Until next time, at the Canadian Bro Show, Pauly and Johnny.
Thank you.
Peace.
Cheers.